Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, it's the fact that he does cosplay. I think is interesting. I saw his page. You got a lot of stuff going on, man. All right. Well, I'm a little sad. I ain't gonna lie, Ty. Because Nolly had to leave, and the conversation got so crazy.
Oh, I was not. Nope. I was not finna do that live, anyways.
Yeah,
so
that was different. Yeah,
that was an off camera.
That was
conversation.
private stuff from the family.
Oh, okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. It was a nice private moment, but it was it was eye opening. Nevertheless,
I have no idea what you're talking about.
What is you talking about? Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. All right, goes on in the house, stays in the house. God damn it, that's what I was always talking.
Hey, well, we in the house.
Exactly.
So we ain't gonna talk right now. We in the house. We was talking about the positive and negative effects. Now, I didn't really get a chance to really expound on this, but I do think it's fascinating because I think we're kind of in a dilemma right now, where as people, right, like we don't really have. I can't point to the resource that would allow us to function without any non-minority participation. You know what I'm saying? So in some respect, I feel like you have to choose in which way you have to, kind of deal with it. And so if Beauty and the Beast ends up coming out with some new show or some sort of series, and you're trying to forward your notoriety and your music career, and they want to pay you to be on the front of that ticket, how do you say no? Do you say no for the culture? You know what I'm saying? That's where it gets tricky to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't think that she should have to make that decision. I think that she can walk that line and be a positive representation in that role, and also, kind of help move forward the images. But you say that we just kind of being used, or you think it's more of just a.
I mean, we know that we're being used. That's not even a question anymore. It's just the fact of the comfortability with being used. You know what I'm saying? Like, are we uncomfortable to the point of not allowing ourselves to be used? And that's kind of the dilemma that we face as Black people, right? We always look at the lesser end of things when we're negotiating. We're like, okay, well, we don't have a role, we don't have a seat at the table, but we don't have a seat at the table, so we'll right now, just to get in the room or near the table, I'll take that blanket on the side of the table, just so that I'm in the room. Like we have this mentality that is like embedded in us, where we're willing to take the least. But the most is expected from us. So a company like Disney is like, all right, we now see that there is a market for Black people where we can make money off of Black people, but we don't support Black people. We just realize that we can make money off of them. So what we'll do is we'll sprinkle Black people into things around and within our wide array of movies and series and platform on our large platform. We'll sprinkle them. Why? Because they're okay with sprinkles. Why give them the whole meal if we're okay with the sprinkles? And that's what I'm saying. Like that. I understand our position, but I don't understand our way of thinking, because our position is always kind of dictated by our way of thinking. You know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't process that way for us as Black people. Everybody else, it processes that way. But when it comes to us, we always feel like we need to not step on toes. We need to fluff words. We need to do everything just so we can have a seat in the room, not at the table, but just in the room. Right now, we've been standing outside the door for so long. If they just open the door and let me just peep in there, I can just see a little bit. I feel like when we was kids and our parents, like, I don't know about you, but at my house, My mom wouldn't pay for the premium channel. So we didn't have the HBOs and the Cinemaxes and the Showtimes and stuff like that. So what did I have? What did I have to do? I had to watch a TV that had the channel but didn't have the channel, and hope that at some point something would flick in, and then I could see something on that channel. That's how bad it was when you don't have these things, and you want these things, right? So I was willing to sit there for hours hoping that the TV would flick, the channel would flick, and then I would be able to catch like parts of whatever that was on that premium channel. That's how Black people, that's how we operate in the world. That's literally how we operate. We're like, okay, I don't have the premium channel, but I want to see the premium channel. So I'm willing to do whatever it takes to see that little flicker. So if I got to stay here for hours until that flicker comes on, I'm going to do it just so I can say I caught something on that premium channel. And that's the same mentality that we're working and operating in as adults and as human beings. And I don't understand why it is that we continue to operate like that when we see everybody else operating different. And like that's the part that it's just like, man, we cannot get over past ourselves and our own line of thinking. We can't get over that. You know, it's hard.
Steph, what you feel what he's saying?
I definitely think there's a lot of validity to it. I then question, what do you suggest is the solution? And do you share concerns about, okay, if we say, well, one Black person isn't enough, so we're not going to support this. And then the message that corporate gets is, oh, well, Black people don't care if we put a Black person in, they're not supporting it anyway, so we don't need to do this again. I think the flip side is, oh, wow, adding one Black person increased the support this much. Imagine if we had a bunch. Imagine if we did more projects with Black leads. And I think that is something that the success of Wakanda Forever and Black Panther has illustrated. You do something showing Black people in a beautiful, positive light, and we're going to come out and support hard. So I definitely value what you're saying, Good Ty, but then I wonder, okay, so what is the solution? How do we get what you're proposing?
Well, I mean, the solution is obviously not as easy as it, you know, anything that I say. It's obviously, but I think the first step is obviously acknowledging it, and then at some point conditioning ourselves to think differently. What has been shown to us is that we do possess buying power within the United States, within the world. I don't know how many of us realize that, and realize how much we affect the economy. When it comes to this move that you're seeing a lot of corporations making right now, to include us in things, it is because they realize that we possess this buying power. Again, this is one of those scenarios and situations where we're in we have a full awareness, but we don't have the capability to change the way we move. And that is the overall problem. It's not, I don't even blame it on the corporations anymore, or any of the platforms that are using us. I blame it on us for not taking the steps to condition ourselves to understand where we actually reside in this whole overall space. And that's the key element that I think is really missing from our community is the fact that we won't stand together. There's always going to be divisiveness within us, and that's obviously been something that's been embedded in us through slavery, through colonization, all of, white supremacy, capitalism, you name it. All of those things are key ingredients that have us feeling the way that we feel as people. But I think it to answer your question, it's definitely going to come with the conditioning part, trying to condition ourselves to think and understand what it is that we're seeing and process it a different way. instead of continuing to come at the table starving and hungry and just accepting whatever scraps are given, understanding that we have more of a place at the table than ever before. And this is that time to realize that moment, if you're ever going to realize it. Otherwise, you're just going to continue to be like, we're just going to continue to have these conversations where we're like, oh, I'm fine, I'm glad to see more of our faces in this and this and this. And it's like, yeah, but what that effectively does that do for the community? I mean, yeah, it may let us look at, as little kids, and look at these characters, which, by the way, are all fictitious, which to me also has no weight in really trying to make some moves, because there's brilliant history, there's brilliant like individuals who we can
Ah,
spotlight
yeah,
on Disney and stuff
yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Look, real quick, real quick. All right, man. I hear what you're saying, and I know it has a lot of merit. I just don't. I feel like sometimes some people, they project this ideal utopia that, in my opinion, is very difficult to manifest due to a lot of our dependency on cultures in certain aspects. So it's interesting to, to hear folks like be like, "Yo, look, man, look, what we need to do is this," and then everybody, like, I don't think that the true benefits of these projects are really being given the respect that they should. Like, the fact that there are characters that is, I don't know if the beginning of this trailer started by her saying they employed a Nigerian animation studio, which is huge in itself, to let that be a trend, especially if we're speaking of predominantly in Nigeria is not South Africa, so you can more than likely assume that it is a predominantly black staff at this company Kogalu. I can't say it right, but this is what you want to happen, for there to be a pathway for black animators to eventually be able to start their own. And sometimes that pathway is through corporations giving others a chance, or not necessarily corporations, but let's just say others. It don't have to be a corporation. It could be an individual. It can be just somebody. But sometimes in order to get to Tyler Perry, I can buy my own studio status, you got to put your play on Broadway. You got to put your shit on Netflix first. You put your shit out with MGM, and then all of a sudden, I don't need y'all no more. I got Tyler Perry. So I just think that it's difficult to just say, look, like Steph, I think, was trying to kind of allude to, like, listen, man, I hear what you're saying, but we got to get there. Like, we're not there, so we shouldn't like cut off our legs to spite our hands, because we can't just be there immediately. I mean, from what you describe, it's like, look, all it takes is for us to collectively. And I just want to say this too. I don't think that black people should be held at a higher regard than all people, which is by to make it so that we all unite as one universal mind. That has never been the case in any for any culture. If you want to talk about white people, you don't remember not to homogenize white folks. It's just the ones that are on this continent. There's also white folks on a whole other continent that have different perspectives from the ones on this one, even though they do benefit from white supremacy equally. I just don't think that we should be held as as a standard to have a homogenized mindset. Like, we're gonna be different. We're a multicultural culture from within ourselves, so there are going to be different opinions. And the moment we start saying, "Listen, we all have to unite and think this way," is when we start being not a culture, but like a cult. You know what I'm saying? So I want to be careful of stuff like that too. Like, we're gonna have diverse opinions and feelings, and that's how humans are as a whole. So, but yeah, I just think that we're saying the same things. We just have different goals of getting there, different ways and ideas of getting there. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah, everything you said, I agree with for the most part. And I mean, as a minority and from a minority standpoint, um, when you see other cultures and other races being unified and being able to unify in certain moments, because you don't. I mean, no, I don't think as a whole group of people anybody stays unified, but I think there are moments where you can unify. And in this instance, what I'm saying, and I'm not saying that you should stop doing what they're doing. What I'm saying is it doesn't impress me by what it is that they're doing because I see it for what it is. I'm, like at the end of the day, I'm just saying that awareness can, being aware of something and then being complicit to something are two different things. And I believe that in this instance, we're being complicit to the ideas that um Disney is somehow seeing the light and they're doing more in regards to black people. No, Disney saw the light as far as what Steph said earlier. It's a big corporation. They see a profit margin and they see that they can do the minimal amount of put the minimal amount of energy and still get the maximum return. And that's the part that I'm saying, like,
Well,
instead of keep recycling these storylines and now implanting us in them, allow us to develop our own storylines with our black creatives. And like you just mentioned, the whatever, I can't pronounce it, but I'm interested to see what the finished product will look like. If everything is on the up and up, and this is a Nigerian based company, and all black animators, all black casts and stuff like that, I'm totally with it. But if this drops and then I start seeing like the lead characters change to this and change to that for Disney's purposes or whatever the case may be, because that's what they did with Soul. Like then I'm back to square one again. Like, okay, here we go again. Like we're still not taking that step, that proverbial step in the right
but
direction.
aren't we putting Disney and all these companies on a pedestal? I mean, one thing that's a
The
little
platform
unnerving.
puts them on a pedestal. Like it's not us putting them on a pedestal, it's the platform. Like they
Yeah,
have
but
a big platform. That's what
yeah,
the pedestal is.
I hear you, but I don't know if Disney feels like they're responsible for boosting black culture. I feel like they may be participant in the experience or experiment of promoting black projects, but I don't think you're ever going to have. They're going to do the Black History thing. They're going to do but I mean, ultimately, like Steph said, they're a corporation. Their bottom line is the profit line. And so if it's profitable to them, just like black culture is profitable for the most part for all Americans, then they'll find a way to tap into it, and that's what we're watching. There's nothing different from any other, from Netflix putting on a black series category, and everybody else doing the same thing for like around when George Floyd died and all this other stuff. Like supply and demand. Disney's tapping into just like everybody else is. What you want, it sounds like, which is what we should want, is for us to have our own entity from which to draw from these resources from. And that's what I think we should have. That's what the loss is that we haven't collectively put together a place. And I hate to keep using Tyler Perry, but he's the only one I know. He's the only black man I know that has a studio. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry. I mean, that has a movie set studio that is used by Hollywood Industries, despite everything that happens in the backgrounds and the shadows and all that, whatever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that I think is what we're beckoning for, is an official top to bottom black owned studio that allows dope productions to be made from, of which black people are employed and empowered and also benefited from on the lower end of that. You know what I'm saying? That I think we can work towards. But right now, I think to be out front is, I don't know if you call it progress. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I think those corporations that you're referring to, like a Disney Plus and like a large those larger platforms, they do it all under the guise of inclusion. Like it's like that's my point. Is like if your whole move is to include black people in more things, your whole and then you're doing all of it under the guise of celebrating, because that's kind of some of the verbiage that's used on Netflix, is celebrating inclusion and stuff like that. When you use those type of terms and things like that, you're really it's like you're promoting change. You're trying to promote this. But go ahead.
Well, Steph, aren't you, isn't what you're kind of saying is like, I mean, that's kind of a necessary evil, right? I mean, you can't. I mean, you do you kind of got to go through the ranks to get. You got to be able to change from the inside. I mean, or is that? I don't know, man. I don't know if absolution works.
Where does absolution? Where'd you hear anything that I said about absolution?
Well, because you're making it. I mean, so these places are in a hard spot. Like they're like, all right, well, if we hire the black lady because we want to now be involved with the current state of mind, then we're looked at as the company that did it just because. If we don't, then we're exclusionists. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of in a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, and that's fine. I could give a shit because hey, you making money either way. But it is kind of like there's no, unless they just turn over their corporation, the corporation to, the community completely, there's always room for scrutiny.
I don't think that we gain from boycotting something because it's not Black enough. I think that Black people with platforms have a responsibility to give equal or better yet greater attention to Black led and Black sponsored projects. And I think that falls on the shoulders of people like us. We make time to talk about Black Belle in a Disney production. We need to also make time to talk about Black person starring in this Black production by Black creators from a Black studio. And part of the challenge is finding that stuff, because I think that we want to promote it, but without the same advertising dollars as Disney, that stuff's not in your face. I wasn't searching for what's new on Disney, but they advertise their shit everywhere. So I'm like, oh, this pops up on my timeline. So I think if anything, it's a call to action for us and people like us to put our time and energy into being assertive about finding the work of those Black creators and raising them up.
And that's all I've been saying. I mean, that you basically put it all in. You said it so eloquently.
Yeah, but if they do that, then you'll be like, well, they're just tapping into the culture, and they, saying when we're gonna learn. Like it feels like there'll always be an oppositionist stance, no matter.
I mean, that's an annoying. That can be annoying, but I don't think that is that's the argument or it's fair. Depending on where your perception is in that scenario, like where you stand in that. Like if you're a person that's privy to what's going on and you're on the sidelines saying that, then yeah. But if you're just out here speaking on emotion and you're just like, oh yeah, I just feel like, then that's different. What I was saying and what I've been saying the whole entire time is if your whole guise, if you're doing under the guise of inclusion and also trying to effectively make change in our society, then hiring a Black woman is not the issue. Hiring a Black woman and putting her in a position as a janitor maybe would be an issue, as opposed to putting her as a CFO or someone in a position to effectively make change within the company. That's what I'm saying when I say you give me sprinkles because I'm starving. And as long as I'm starving, those sprinkles are now a delicacy on my plate. But if I'm literally looking from a conscious aspect and I understand that foods have taste, then I'm looking at it like, oh, I can't believe you gave me these sprinkles when you could have gave me that turkey or you could have gave me that. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, yo, don't just keep sprinkling us. And then we get super excited because we got some sprinkles and then wonder why we don't have those platforms for these Black creatives. As long as they can keep us out and effectively still get our money, then why won't they? They will continue to do that. And that's what I'm talking about.
So here is something that we can do. Have perhaps an intentional call for submissions from Black content creators and make a point of, whether it's every week or twice a month or whatever, spending some time talking to Black creators about their indie projects. Are you a Black creator of a web series, of a comic? Are you making a movie? Do you have a Patreon, a GoFundMe? Come talk about your project and how we can support, and let's put some eyes on what you're doing.
I love that idea.
Hmm.
I absolutely love that idea. It's a great
Uh,
idea.
so there's this guy. I don't know if y'all know Marshall Shorts, black creative. He calls himself. Had a TED talk. Some interesting things. I wonder if this fits into our conversation. Let me see.
Wow, there are a lot of people in here, and that was a thunderous clap, so I can go home now. Several years ago, during Gallery Hop, which is one of the most prominent events that happens here in Columbus, and if you're not familiar, it's where people come from near and far to attend and patronize shops in the Short North District of Columbus, Ohio. And we were hosting an event this one year in collaboration with a client of mine. And the guy walks into the event and he's looking around confused and wondering what's going on. And I approach him and I say, well, I just wanted to let you know that you're welcome to stay. This is a paint by numbers mural event we do called the Brush Experience. And we would love for you to participate in this paint by numbers event. And so he looks at me confused and begins to look around the room again, kind of scratching his head. And then he looks at me and he says, well, did you invite any white people? Kind of laugh like that. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, is this event only for black people? Now, I'm sure he wasn't the only person that walked in that day thinking that. In fact, quite a few white folks had come in the door, and once they saw that there was quite a bit of hue in the room, they quickly turned around and left. What was unusual was that he decided to ask, and he was so concerned that we didn't invite any white people to our event. And what I really wanted to do was take him out on High Street and point him down in the direction of the other shops in the Short North, which are predominantly white owned, and arguably most of the people who attend Gallery Hop are white patrons, and ask them if they invited any black people to their event. But I didn't do that. And if you're wondering, there were no signs in our event saying no whites allowed, uh, just in case you were wondering. But part of me understood how he felt, and it's something that we've all felt at some point in our life, where we may have walked into a room or this feeling of not belonging or, this idea that you're not supposed to be in this place. And as I began to prepare this talk and think about risk and what role does this feeling of not belonging and what happens when that becomes synonymous with our careers and our creativity and our livelihood and even our passion.
Well, look, he goes on to say, a bunch of stuff. I mean, it's not a long clip. It's like a 10-minute, 9-10 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we could even play some more of it out, but he goes to illustrate what we're up against, which is a world in which when we unite, it's questioned. You know what I'm saying? It's questionable. You know what I'm saying? It's averse to on the other end, which is what is expected. You know what I'm saying? Like you just said, like you go down the street, the same things happen on the other end, but there's no questions about, did you invite any blah blah blah, because that's what's expected. So that's what we're up against. I have always stated my desire to relocate to another continent where we are the prominent face. But I don't know if that's going to solve all the problems. I mean, there's issues over there with democracy and dictatorships and crooked politicians and other sorts of issues. So, we'll trade one step for another. But my issue when these topics come about is the like I'm glad Steph brought it to the solutions. It's so easy to point out what the issues are, but it's so difficult to support and put into place things to counter those issues. So that's all I had to say about that.
Well, looks like we discovered a new segment today. So maybe that's our next step, is putting out that call for submissions from Black creatives and people who have Black creatives they follow and admire. Submit somebody. Send us their info. Let us know who we can highlight.
And you keeping us abreast of who you run into, even if it's just us showing a clip of their content. Hey, appreciate that, man. Let's do it like that. Yeah, because this shit was completely stupid. Like I would have wholeheartedly believed that this was real. If you didn't tell me that this was your homeboy, I was like, all right, where's he going with this? And it wasn't until the very last one when he said some dumb shit. He said a vasectomy. I was like, all right, this dude's a complete clown. All right, and I like the face changes as he goes along and shit. Like every you know what I'm saying? Yeah,
it gets better. There's a part two. There's a part two. The story continues.
The story should continue.
Yeah,
it says he's a doctor, and I guess he does. He does a lot of what's it called? Drag stuff.
I don't know that it's drag. I know he does a lot of gender bending cosplay. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure what is the definition of drag, but I wouldn't call it that. Some of his he does some like women women character cosplay, but I think that he's kind of gender fluid in terms of expression.
All right, cool. Kudos to that, man. Hey, look, I don't know how much of this you know about. I know I did kind of want to talk about some of these shows. Oh shit, I didn't push that. I did not push that.
I was about to say, because that shit was terrible this week. I was about to be like that. This week's episode, I'm glad we didn't talk about it on the show, because I would have just straight trashed it.
Wow.
This shit was so fucking. This episode was so trapped that if they didn't do the whole Titans thing again, right when I started to get into it, and I was like, yo, they're not so bad this season. They give us that episode. And then please tell me, are you saying you like this episode?
I liked elements of the episode. I did.
Oh wow.
I really it's one quote. It's one quote that I loved from this episode particularly. I had it on here. I hope I can still find it. Let me see. It really summed up such a dope. Let me see. What's his name? Tim
Sebastian. Tim Drake.
He said,
and the quote came from him.
No. The quote came from Connor. He said, Tim Drake does absolutely nothing, like literally nothing. Or he said, what was that line? What was that? I forgot. I can't. I don't know. I don't have a line, but
he does literally nothing.
He's like, because it was the part where your boy Dick was trying to go off on him because he had went full Lex Luthor and shit, and he was like, you better be glad you got me, because I'm all you got. He's like Beast Boy's on some weird shit. You know what I'm saying? Star Girl, she's on some other whatever the fuck, her blue shit. She can't get that shit together. You know, you doing some other shit. And he's like, Tim Drake does nothing. Literally nothing. Literally nothing. And he said it like looked Tim Drake in the face.
Like
nothing. Yeah, like you don't do shit. Like he called it out. And I thought I liked that moment. I enjoyed that moment. So for me, that moment made the episode for me. I thought that shit was hilarious. He was
that should tell you everything you need to know, Stephanie, about this episode. That's the only thing that he has. The shining moment of the episode was that Tim Drake does nothing.
I liked the legs. I like him going full Lex Luthor. I like that shit. It was what I needed, because they were painting him out to be such a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, we finally in this episode, we finally got Beast Boy to turn into a gorilla. So he finally turned into a gorilla. So that's canon. So that's something. But this episode was tired. The CGI was very bad. It was the whole Lex Luthor, Connor, Lex. Oh man, it was just terrible. He looked. He just looked like a skinhead, a big skinhead, and that just did not look. It didn't look good, Connor. It didn't look good at all. Oh man, that was just a bad episode. And I don't know if that might have been so bad that I don't even want to watch it anymore. Like that might be just where we're at. Like it's that bad. It was that bad. It was a real
Yeah,
bad.
I wouldn't subject Steph to Titans again, even though I will say some of the funniest shit I've ever seen is Steph review shit that she hates to watch. And I can't wait for that to come back. The Boba Fett commentary was legendary. I cannot wait for Boba Fett season 2.
Clot. Bumba
Clot Fett.
Bumba.
She called it everything but a child of God and shit, man. It is what it is, man. I ain't mad at it. Shit, man.
Steph, I'm surprised have you watched have you been able to follow Let the Right One In? Because Let the Right One In is actually really good.
I haven't. What is it? What channel? What service is it
I'm
on?
gonna say
it is on Showtime.
Oh yeah.
Yo,
Showtime.
you know what, bro? Hey, we might
What?
need to. We might need to send out
Fire sticks to everybody.
Christmas fire sticks to the crew. Yeah, man. Not to make shit mandatory, but to give greater access. There's no reason everybody should have to purchase all these shits.
Yeah, one-stop shop.
But just because you're probably not gonna watch it anytime soon, if we're honest about it. I like to,
but it's good.
I like to try
really
to
is good.
Can you sell it? What would you say about? First of all, the chick
Anika Noni Rose
is gorgeous.
She's gorgeous. She's a phenomenal actress.
She's so bad.
You know her from Princess and the Frog. You know what I'm saying? But Anika is really she is really, really good. And the supporting cast is really, really good. Her son, that little young man right there, he's excellent. The little girl, she's excellent. My man, her dad, killing it. And even the uncle, I don't know what his name is, but the uncle is him, my man right here. Yo, they are all killing it, and it's and like as far as like us just being and being a melanated show, this show is pretty melanated. I mean, even down to the school that the little boy goes to, it's a lot of us there. You know what I'm saying? So they definitely tap into the inner city vibes and everything like that. I love the show. It's just like the writing is really, really good. It does give you the fantastical aspect with the vampires and all of that kind of that. It is a horror genre, but it is really good. It's a really well written show, and I think you would like it if you watched it.
Well, I mean, let me ask you this, just out of curiosity, and just keep it 100, Steph. I know you hella busy. You travel, rarely have time for entertainment. But what are you watching right now? And it not even nerdy, nothing, just whatever in general. What, if anything?
So I'm like 10 years late. But I came home the other night exhausted and stressed and was like, I'm gonna just watch 30 minutes of something. And I put on the Queen's Gambit. And it was so good. And I watched 3 episodes in a row. And it was a poor choice in the middle of the night, but it was really good. So now I'm on episode 4, and when I have a moment, and I'm slowly making my way through the Queen's Gambit.
Queen's Gambit
was really good. It was really good.
That girl, she plays the hell out of that role. And I'm a chess player, so it was good to watch that. Yeah, it did come out a while back, but we're waiting for like a season 2. I'm not saying it's been announced, but it'd be nice.
That movie's been gone for a while. I doubt that they would come back out with it. I mean, because it was a Netflix original too, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I think that's been like what 2 maybe 3 years.
It's been a little while.
It's been longer than that. It's probably not going to come back.
She's been on a lot of shit since then. She was in Peaky Blinders. She was in the last 2 seasons of Peaky Blinders. She there's something else. She was in something else too. Something
most recently. She's been in a lot of. She was in I was watching it the other night too, and I can't think of the name of it. But I'll let you know once I remember. But yeah, she's a really good actress. There's also another movie. Now that you said Queen's Gambit, that is not necessarily the same, but it's kind of, it was kind of shot the same, in the same light, in the same way. But Blonde is on Netflix, and that's the Marilyn Monroe, uh,
Hmm.
the Marilyn Monroe joint. Actually, that wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. It's like, really, you find out, really, because I didn't realize, all of the stuff that this woman went through. I never really followed Marilyn Monroe like that. But when you find out all of the stuff that she had to go through as a woman, in Hollywood, and just the stuff that women have to endure behind the scenes, it's like, yo, you see why she died at such a young age. Like, that girl was dealing with all
Yo,
type of
I have
trauma.
a confession to make. I think a hyper insensitivity to white women of that era and their stories, because every time I think of it, I think there's a black woman with a story that doesn't have the notoriety to be put on screen. Like, I think of the fact that we know Marilyn Monroe as a sex symbol, outwardly so, that had an affair with the president and it's celebrated. You know what I'm saying? And in the meantime, like Billie Holiday around the same time was being uh, basically sued by the government for a song that she wanted to sing, because they didn't like the way that it was, resonating. So it's hard for me, like shit like that. And Elvis, I'm like, fuck this shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, well, I have no no reason to really sympathize with these folks. I don't know, it's embedded in me, so I probably won't give it a watch.
I mean, that's it. I don't necessarily fault every individual for everything that's ever happened. But when it comes to just the story um, itself, like, she's. I didn't even know she was Mexican. Marilyn Monroe was actually Mexican. Her father was Mexican. Um,
Hmm.
yeah. See, that's little tidbit there. But I mean, when you see just the traumas, you can, I think anybody who's gone through the traumas can identify with certain aspects of one's life. So when you see that her mother was bipolar and dealing with depression and all of the things that went along, because her mother tried to kill her at one point, like when she was a kid. Like, her mother tried to, like, drown her in a tub and killed her. And then just growing up her entire life, never knowing her dad, always looking for father figures within these men. And then just having all of these men just kind of treat her like, garbage. And then when she finally did get with good men, she didn't know how to operate in those arenas. And I just think, like, from that standpoint, you can just effectively see how people go through trauma and deal with trauma, and how it affects you long term. And that's why I said, like, when you see that story, and you might have had something like that going on in your life, it gives you some type of context to go along with whatever you're dealing with as
All
well.
right.
So
Real quick, let's let Steph head out, man. Thanks for hanging out, Steph, a little bit, man. Appreciate it. All right.
Absolutely.
We'll see you. Send whatever you got. If you got any more info on anything else.
yay, yay.
All right. Yeah,
And then
man.
there were two.
Yeah, you wanna talk and play games, or you
Talk
wanna
and play games and talk. Let me yeah, I probably could turn on the game for a little bit. Let me see what the old lady
yeah,
has in store. And
or-
we may have a nice little 100th, oh, excuse me, episode gift for next week. We may have something new on the new Blurred Order.
yeah.
So yeah, we may have something new on the
Oh,
new Blurred Order
okay,
for
okay.
our 100th episode. You know what I mean?
Wow. Well,
So,
wouldn't that be nice?
wouldn't
That
that
would be
be
awesome.
nice? Wouldn't it be awesome? Wouldn't it?
That
Yeah.
would be dope. That would be dope.
Hmm.
Real quick. So did you watch this episode?
Uh, no.
Oh shit. All right. Well, damn.
No, but we can talk it because I watched the episode before, so I kind of have.
Nah, we can't.
It goes
I'm
way
gonna give it
left. It goes a different way. I mean, because I know what everything was leading up to. So we're I don't
I'm gonna
mind.
give
I'm
it
gonna
away. I don't
watch
want
it.
to. I get it.
Give it away. I'm gonna watch it. No matter.
It's some pretty significant changes in this most recent episode. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, unless you want me to,
Oh yeah, I want you to do what you do
you want me to
best. Spoil it.
spoil it for real?
Spoil it. Do it. Spoil it.
I'll
Look at this
spoil it.
thing. Yeah, I know you will. Like, look at Key. Like,
I
don't
will.
dare me.
I
Don't
will.
dare me with a good
All right,
time.
all right.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mean, I could just give you the major shit that happens if you want.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, you just pulled it
So
up. Let's talk about
somebody dies. You know what I'm saying?
it. Oh, I already know
Who you think dies?
Let's see. It would make sense for the person who dies to be her partner.
Her partner.
There's only one. The Noni Rose's partner, either her partner or uncle. Those are the two people that I would say.
So you talking about? Are you talking about this chick's partner?
Yes, her partner or uncle, the black dude. So those are the two people that I would assume could die.
Okay, nah, it ain't either one of them.
And neither one of them.
Nope. So this week, they go to what happens? You know that these two been teasing around like they've been dating and shit. You know what I'm saying? Excuse me, not them.
Oh yeah. The sister and the old boy, yeah.
This dude and her. You know
ain't no teasing. He kissed her full on in the mouth, bruh.
Yeah,
that was that, and it was reciprocated. So
So they got a moment going on right now.
Yeah.
So then they went out. I don't know if this is the episode that they went out on, but they went out. It could have been this episode, and she started telling her stuff. You know what I'm saying? He started
about the case.
Because she knocked on this chick's door. Remember?
Yeah.
So he started telling about how she went over to how they went to his house. You know what I'm saying? So he's like, oh, so he goes to the house. Remember, this is the end of this episode. He goes to the house, and bim, then old boy ends up knocking him upside the head. Remember, that's how the episode ended.
Yeah.
The one that you're watching.
Yeah.
The one that you just watched. So it starts at the beginning. They got old boy tied up and shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh shit, he's like, tell us, he's like, look, man, tell us what we need to know. Through a few ways, he ends up kind of, getting information out of him. They go over to he sends somebody over to get the girl, to get his daughter, because he thinks it's gonna be like collateral.
Yeah.
The dude he sends over, little Ellie, she fucked him up.
Of course she did. Of course she did. Yeah. Of course she did. But did she kill him? Because she don't normally kill nobody. So
right. So at this point, I don't think that she did kill him. I don't remember, honestly. I don't remember. But then she didn't kill him. That's right. She did not kill him because she took a gun to his head and said, take me to where my dad
my
is.
father, yeah.
And she was like, he was all like, kids, you don't know what you're doing. She was like, click, I watch TV. You know what I'm saying? She was like that. She was like, I watch TV. Yeah. She had the gun on him the whole time. They drove over there. They bust off in that bitch. As soon as they bust in, he take the gun from her. And now she, dad, they sitting there like, torturing him, to an extent. And then so she was like, they was about to, kill him. And she went full vampire, yo. And yo.
So she killed old boy. Old boy.
Yo, so the dude that they sent over, she fucked him up pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then it was just up to them, this dude.
Yeah.
And so that dude was holding her father. And so she went over and fucked him up. Like fucked him up.
Did she kill him or did she bite him? Because if she bit him,
he's
dead.
He's
dead. Okay.
He's
all right.
definitely dead.
Yeah.
But
So that's
what you're gonna love about it that I can't even give away, I can't even talk this away, is the way that they show it or not show it. The way that they do it, it is brilliant. I haven't the way that they show this. It's not
gory.
It's brilliant. It's so creative in the way that they do it. I don't even that I won't spoil for you. That I want you to just see how it look. I'm gonna tell you, it's not like a bunch of CGI. It's just smart.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're gonna be like, oh shit.
No, I'm already like that every time I watch this show. I'm like, oh snap, oh.
Yeah.
It's it's an extremely good show, man. I wish it wasn't on Showtime. I wish they had it on like a HBO or something like that, because it would be so much bigger than it actually is right now. But,
yeah, you're right. Because this show I think is underrated. I don't think enough people are talking about it.
Nah.
And I agree with you about the cast. I think the cast is dope. I think everybody holding it down. Down to the kids, even shit.
Down to the kids.
Even down to the like henchmen and shit. Like
now that is one thing I did want to talk to y'all about, was this relationship between Ellie and the little boy. Now, a couple of episodes back, she came over to sleep in the bed with him, because he just wanted her to come, spend time with him, and then he wanted to basically let her know he wanted to be he wanted her to be his girl. But see, he wants her to be his girl from the perspective of a 8-year-old. I don't know how old he is, but I assume they're 12-year-old. So he wants her to be a girlfriend from that perspective of a 12-year-old, which is a kid. In this world, it's a kid who's just being a kid. Now, Ellie is a grown woman trapped in a kid's body. Yeah, and when they got into the bed scene, it just felt really awkward, because it was like, he was just like, I don't know what we do. She was like, well, what do we do now? And he was like, I don't know. We just hold each other. And then you could tell she was like, all right. Man, it was just kind of an awkward moment. It's like, well, what did you want him to do? You wanted to fuck the little boy? Like, what's going on? Like, this is kind of weird, but it does show you like kind of like where Ellie is more mature, trapped in this little girl's body, but has to, like deal with this little boy. And then they keep on kind of making it seem at some point like either Ellie is going to become normal in age, or something's going to happen to where, because remember he said, I'll always love you no matter what. Or whatever he said, I always, like you, or whatever. Something no matter what. And it's like, okay, yeah. Even when I'm 28 and it looks weird, because you're a little kid, you'll still like me. Yeah.
I think you tapped into something. Like, there is an element of her having this grown woman perspective and experience, because she's 22 technically, but she's in this 12-year-old body.
Yeah.
So yeah, a lot of questions come from that. Like, kind of like in the interview with the vampire, the girl, they had a girl that they trapped around the same age, not trapped, but she was gonna die, so they the story, and then they say she's in a permanent state of puberty. You know what I'm saying? So like, she's in like, her hormones is driving at all the time, so I'm wondering if there's this hint of that. If she's 12, then she's, women, they get a little more, if I'm not mistaken, a little more puberty earlier than men do. So she's probably trapped off in that shit too. And yeah, she's like, look, I want some dick, little nigga. I don't know what the fuck, you know what I'm saying? And this little nigga's like, look, ain't we cuddling? I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. I don't know what else you want me to do. I don't know.
I jumped all the way over this building, bitch. But what's up with the dick?
Hey, look, my nuts just dropped, ma'am. They just dropped yesterday.
You mean my penis? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not right. So it's weird, because you like, you don't want to see. I don't want to. It's honestly weird just to see two kids in bed. Period. honestly.
Period. Period.
Of any, just two kids in bed this day and age is just weird. So any context for me is wrong. I'm like, shit, they shouldn't, you know what I'm saying? But hey, that's where it's going. Now, this episode, it just ended up, you know, that. But I ain't gonna lie, that's sweet though. The little relationship they got and shit. You're like, oh, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, she said she loved the little boy. She like, yeah, I love him, Dad. I love him. I was like, oh shit, you love this little nigga.
She
You know
in love with the little boy, man, which is again kind of weird. You 22 years old and
But she's
love
12.
with this little, but you with a
but I mean,
22-year-old mentality, like that's kind of like,
what's her options? Her options is either have a little something with somebody that looks her age,
with an old man,
or be with somebody that looks
be a pedophile. It's just all weird.
So
it's all weird.
The closest she's got, I feel like, in 10 years to
House of the
her
Dragons,
having some sort of relationship with House. Yeah, oof. Yeah, I don't want to go there, man. So, I mean, that is what it is, and that honestly is what that I feel like is the best, is the most heartful part of this show, is their little relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it kind of makes the show. It's as creepy as it is when they sleep in the same bed. Just the organic friendship that they seem to have developed. She picked up on him being bullied and was able to stop that shit quickly and did it low key. And her sharing her secrets. He is the right one that they're talking about. Let the right one in. The show is about him. So it's a dope show. It's so well done. I mean, we could argue whether or not the effects are corny, if they just speeding up the video.
Nah, I love it. When I tell you, I think this is one of those just all around well produced shows. Like they even went like a couple of episodes back, they even went into old school vampire folklore. Remember when she first became a vampire?
Yeah.
And then the uncle was the only one that knew anything about vampire lore. Yeah. And she came into the house for the first time. Yeah. All of her orifices started bleeding. Yeah, she started bleeding out of, and he was like, oh, snap. You're welcome to the and I was like, that's dope, because like that is almost real. That's real stuff right there. Because if you didn't know, you know what I'm saying, that could have been into her saga right there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the parents didn't know nothing about this. If uncle is not there in that moment, she dies right there. And they never know why. You know what I'm saying? But because he had some level of understanding of the lore behind vampires, he was able to tap into that real quick, man. I thought that was pretty dope.
I mean, that is dope. They did signal. They did that. They did hint to that multiple times.
In the first episode.
Yeah, when she went over to Lil Man's house and she was just looking in, and he was like, "Come on in." And she was like, "Oh well, my dad says it's not polite to come in unless I'm invited." She's like, "Oh, you're invited." So they're feeding off of that. The whole light part. Like the one of the things that the dude did, once he knew that she was a vampire, was instead of him shooting at her, because you're like, oh, he's gonna see that she's a kid who came in with the dude. She could just shoot him. He didn't. He shot at the ceiling to let light in. And it fucked her up. She wasn't ready for that shit. So it's a good fight. Like he had her for a little bit, but yo, you gotta watch that.
She's no joke, man.
Yeah. So I fucks with that. Now, are you caught up on Peripheral? Or no?
Not this last episode, no.
Okay, yeah, you had a hell of your birthday week is hanging over.
It was a hangover, man. It's been wild. Trying to get back on track. But that's another really, really good show, man. Like yeah, man. What do you think about The Inspector?
The Inspector. This one.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I mean, I think she feels like a theater actress or actor. You know, I don't know. There's something. You feel like there's something going on there.
Yes, I mean, I don't know what's going on there, but I feel like that way too informed, way too informed. Like it's like how you know everything before a person like you. She's like one of those what do they call them?
What, clairvoyant?
Not a clairvoyant. They did a whole show, a mentalist, like where you can predict based off a person's body
Well,
language and all kind of stuff like that. Like
I thought
she knows everything.
I thought that she only knew shit about these people, about like um Flynn and her people because they're from the past. So she had all that information because that's like public information. I didn't think that she was like some sort of psychic or nothing like that. Like in this episode that came this week, she's proven to be taken off guard by quite a bit of shit. And actually, I think that happened last week too. So I don't.
Well, the only person that took her off guard last week was I forget her name, but the black woman with the bald head. And she and like, but everything else she was pretty much privy of. The only thing that she did say that she was unaware of was the outcome with Flynn. She was like, it's still kind of, I know that you'll have 2 kids. You're supposed to get married to Tommy. But outside of that, everything else is kind of murky. We don't know, how you die or whatever the case may be. But what I said as far as her being a mentalist is because when she first showed up at old boy's house, she was like telling them what she was like telling, like, if you remember, she was telling everybody like what they were thinking, what they were about to do, what you're probably thinking right now, and all of this. And she was dead on with everything. Like she, like you don't remember, like old girl said to old boy, she was like, don't are you kidding me? We're not listening. You think she probably already knows we just tried to we tried to do something already. And yo, sure enough, she was like, yo, she took her in the room. She's like, we had to come in here away from listening ears and prying ears, and there's no way that anybody can listen to our conversation in here. I remember her saying that. So it's like, oh, okay. So she knew that they was going to try to tap into their conversation. Because right after she said that is when they went to the well, right after they had said that, that's when they came back and she said all of that stuff. So that's why I said and they all seem to be scared of her for that reason. They're like, don't do this because she'll know. Like, don't do this because she'll know. Like that, like, you know what I'm saying? Like that like they were
I feel like it's more the chick she has with her that has
it's her daughter. It's her actual daughter.
She's modeled that. I thought she was it's a peripheral. I don't think she's a real person. I think she's
her daughter is okay. So the black woman, when she first came in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why she made that girl power down is because the black lady knows that is her daughter inside that peripheral. Mm. So maybe the daughter had bad health issues or whatever. I don't know, but her consciousness is within that robot. And the black lady was like, something about secrets and one's daughters and all of that kind of stuff. Go back and watch that episode. But remember when she was like, I'll destroy her right now, and then that's why she was like, she got real antsy. She got real anxious when she said that robot is her daughter. So however that works out, but that's her daughter.
But I think that the daughter seems to have the access to the information. I think that's who knows. That's how she knows all this shit, through her, because she be knowing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
She's a bona fide computer. I mean, she's connected into a database and all of that. So
because remember when they first got there, she was like, "Well, what the fuck? We're dealing with old boy," and she was like, "Oh, well, he only has access to a certain amount of information, that public information. Yeah. We got access to did a lot of information.
Everything.
And that's, you know what I'm saying? So now, more interesting than that, honestly, I think my favorite storyline that I'm following, that I'm waiting for, is my man right here. Like, I just can't wait to see him get unleashed in this upcoming world where he gets a full body and just to get to act out. Like, you saw him like smiling and shit when he got through off of the building and shit. Like,
yeah, but he was smiling because that nigga was done found love, and he done been in there. He done been in there just a matter of 30 minutes, and he done already found love. Like, that's why he was like, when he came out of it, he's like, I think I'm gonna marry her. And then he said, I think I'm gonna marry her. And but they both feeling each other. Like when old girl was trying to explain what was going on with them to her mother, she couldn't. She was like, I couldn't. I don't know. I don't recognize something. I can't process something or whatever. And she was smiling, thinking about him. She like the robot was like, he was like, I'm gonna marry that robot girl or something like that. Like, yeah, so they both feeling each other, man. So it's like,
there was something because she couldn't process whatever it was. She's like,
yeah,
I don't even know what the fuck it is.
it can't compute.
Yeah,
This doesn't
you know what it
compute or
is.
something. You know what it is, man. You over there glowing. You over there glowing.
Yeah, you want that donkey, yeah, man. This dude was a beast. His whole performance.
Oh man, I'm mad they killed him so soon.
Yeah.
He was bad.
I was like, wow, he's really like, you know, and I don't think I've seen a character like his before, honestly. Where he's just,
you know where you saw him at. You know where you saw him at last, right?
Nah.
Peaky Blinders.
Oh yeah, they do look familiar.
That's the dude that was that taught his.
Yeah,
that's the dude that taught his son. That's him. That's the dude that used to run the
yard.
The yards, and yeah.
Okay, I recognize dude now. Yeah, he was when he was just sitting there, it was like, look, I'm doing this because it's for my kid, you know, like just the blunt rawness. Just, all right, I got to kill 2 people later. You know what I'm saying? My kids, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just, you know, hey, dude say you gonna kill my kids if I don't do it. And she's like, well, why don't you just die? She's like, what? He's what? The fuck you talking about? Just die? And he's like, yeah.
Yo, the arrogance by that dude. Like, remember when he picked up remember when old girl was sitting in there and she looked at the knife and she was like, probably in her head, like, I could get to that knife before, you know what I'm saying, before he catches me and I could try to kill him. And then he just like picks up the knife and then looks at the lady and then like tells her, like, you know, you probably get one good swipe, you know, but then after that, I'll just open you up. You know what I'm saying?
And he just left the knife
and then put the knife back where it was at. Like, go ahead and get it. If you think you can make it. If you think you can make it.
That's some true type villainry. Like, you know, and that his character was, yo, I ain't gonna lie. And he just came out of the blue. We're like, who the fuck is this guy? You know what I'm saying? He kills his brother, you know, and then he proceeds to just open up a can of, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that those storylines, everything else, I ain't gonna lie, it's not really as interesting to me.
So what about this episode? So last episode, Tommy shot the sheriff and also shot whatever that dude's name is, and apparently the dude he shot with that phase gun or whatever that shit is called. That dude is alive. He's still alive.
Right.
So now Tommy is over here like, whoa, what do I do? I can't have him. So did they tap into that in this episode, or did they just save that for the next episode?
They didn't really talk. They didn't really tap into it too much. He, you know, Tommy, whatever his name is, he really didn't. He just kind of goes inward. I don't think much progress is made. I think. Shit, I'm trying to find where I put. Damn, I didn't get it on there. I thought I put it in there. I think the main part of this episode is focused on Flynn and the dude
Wolf. Wolf.
Yeah, Flynn and Wolf and their whole little thing.
Yeah, Wolf is in love. Wolf is already in love with her.
Yeah, they pretty much established their whole thing this episode.
Okay.
It also was kind of about yeah, there's a little bit of a twist in that, in the last episode, the one dude, he had threatened that Asian, that I don't want to call her Asian, that Asian lady, but he had threatened, this dude right here. He took a knife to that dude's face.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
And so now the girl who fucks with that dude, she's basically trying to do what he told her to, and she kind of gets caught up in that decision, having to, look, do I do the right thing, or do I do something that could possibly end up, cause this dude harm or me harm or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
She gets confronted with that shit. That's one thing that happens in this, and then I mean, this episode was good,
So
but
it really wasn't that much going on in this
last episode was a little better. There is a significant thing that happens in this. I don't know if you want me to tell you or not.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, all right. Well,
I'll watch this. I'm gonna watch it either way.
Basically, she kind of commits suicide. Flynn, she decides to live her life on the future side strictly. She killed her past self.
How did she kill her past self?
It's so weird. So she had to make an authentic peripheral, and she interjected her consciousness into that, and that's now her permanent living space.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, is just everybody gonna come? Because now that makes she's coming. Old boy said he wants to go over there.
Yep.
Him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, yeah, mom is blind on that side, so is she coming too? I mean,
Right.
like what, and then you can't have mom and Flynn over there without having the brother.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, man, is this just the end of of the past and hello to the future? I mean, what's going on?
I mean, so what the problem with that is, her mom and family is still in the past where they still have the ability to do damage. So she has to rely now on her brother and others, and unless they're all going to go into the future. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I'm saying. It makes, at this point, like from what I'm understanding, and you can let me know if I'm wrong. What they've all said is that at some point there is a disease or something, some chemical weapon of some sort that is released into the world, and it destroys the world. Right? Yeah. So it makes sense if you want to live to come to the future and kind of evade the sickness or whatever that virus is that's implemented into the world.
Yeah. Well, what doesn't make sense is for her to do it and not tell or do it with anybody else. If that's her intent. So we're trying to find out what the purpose of that shit is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just weird. And so, I mean, the way she goes out is all weird too. Like she basically has old boy sniper and shit.
What old boy sniper? The black dude?
Yeah.
Oh, so they done made a deal probably with each other. Like, yeah, like I'll take you out if you make a body and make a way for me too. Hell no, because ain't no way he would have killed her no other way. Like
she had some heart-to-heart talk with him and
said she was dying.
Like he was like,
she probably told him she was dying.
I don't know what she's. No, I don't think it was that. It was something else. Just this is the way you got to do it. Something. And I know he wasn't.
So you telling me he really killed her? He really said, man.
But like right when she does, like she wakes right up in the future. You know what I'm saying? And
Will.
That's it. And I guess she just can't go back to the past now.
that's wild.
or has to go back. Yeah.
This shit is kind of confusing, but it's also a good confusing. It's like man, like are we? Because apparently this isn't time travel. It's
Right.
data travel.
Transfer,
Like
yeah.
yeah, so it's like
Which I still
this
don't
is
understand, like how that works. Like, how do you send like money to a machine to make it win in a time that happened already? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I'm cool with the fiction, but I don't know if it really makes a lot of sense. You know,
peripheral.
peripheral.
Yeah,
Yep.
peripheral, which is the all around view, right? Isn't that the
Yeah,
your
views from
peripheral?
different views, I guess, from different perspectives, I suppose, something like that. I don't know.
Huh. I don't know, but it's a decent show. I'm enjoying it, man.
Yeah.
I just started watching some other shit called The English, which is
Okay.
uh
Okay.
which stars Emily Clark. No, not Emily Clark. Emily Amelia. I don't know what her name is. Maybe it's Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt
Oh,
stars
yeah.
Yeah, Emily Blunt, and it stars another guy. I've seen him in other stuff before. I don't know his name. But I think he's of Native American descent, and
Yeah.
it actually was a couple of episodes was decent, like that I saw. It was more for the fight scenes. Like he's good with a gun, and there was like a scene where he was sitting on a stagecoach, and three dudes pulled up. And I love anytime the three dudes come up and try to run your shit, and they try to run his shit, and he was like, and he was not backing down, and they was like, "You just three of us." He was like, "Oh, I'll take that bet." Yeah. It was like, "Well, you don't see us with these guns," and he's like, "All right, keep it up." And sure enough, bang, bang, bang.
So the English is like is some, what is it, like a Western? I mean, I couldn't really, it seemed like it's got like Native Americans and shit. What the fuck is
It
going on?
does. It does. It's based in that time, the time when the Americans have uh, stolen the natives' land, and now they have put them on reservations. Um, reservations. This is literally right after what war was that? I mean, so many wars, but what was the wars? Um,
The Revolutionary War
was that the Revolutionary War?
with
I
like,
guess it would. I guess it would be the Revolutionary War. Um, but this is literally right after um, the relocation of all the Indian tribes. So they're now being put all onto reservations. Um, you this particular individual, the one I was talking about from Native American descent, he was one of the few one of the natives that actually fought on the side of the Americans to take over the lands from the Indians. So he was part of the army. He became one of the army members. So after the war is over, and everybody gets sent home, he decides that he wants to go find a place, a plot of land that he feels like he was promised, uh, based on what was promised to the soldiers that served. And one of the dudes, there's a lot of like key sayings and quotes that come, but one of his white compatriots said, "All right," when they was getting out, he's like, "Now, all right, now you were one of us in here, but out there you're one of them." You know what I'm saying? Like, because he told
mm,
her, he was like, "Well, what do you want to do?" He's like, "I just want to go get that piece of land that I was promised." He was like, "I don't think that promise goes for you." he was
mm,
like, he was like, and that's what he told her. He's like, "Look, remember, you were one of us. You were one of us in here, but out there, you one of them." And then he kind of, saluted him, told him, it was a pleasure serving under you. But it just showed that dynamic that yeah, with when you're in the army, and or when in that case when you were in the army, that there wasn't it wasn't a sense of race or ethnicity. It was just the uniform. But once you take the uniform away from you, you gotta you now fall back into this reality, the reality of who you are and what you look like out here in the open world. And he still tries to, like, he's conflicted because he knows that he helped to imprison not necessarily his people, because they talk about that as well. They're like, there was war going on before the white man came. Like that, they was saying, he was saying that he was like, I'm a Sioux. I had beef with these people and the Blackfoots and the da da da, and it was like old stuff. You know what I'm saying? But when they came, when the white man came, it just kind of, the enemy of my enemy type deal is what he was saying. It's like the enemy of my enemy. But then he realized that you're still the enemy. Like, you're like, after it's all said and done, you're still the enemy. And yeah, man, so far it's been decent. I wouldn't go as far as recommending it to nobody or anything like that. But that's what I'm watching right now. And that Emancipation, I think, dropped too. The Will Smith movie, I think that dropped on Apple TV.
Oh yeah,
I
I,
think so.
I'm
I haven't
rushing.
watched it. You say you're not gonna watch it?
I don't know if I'm rushing to watch it.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm not rushing to
Listen,
watch it, but I have a keen. I feel like Will's gonna do a very good job at performing, but so what? That's
yeah.
kind of where I'm at, like, with Will now. Like, it's like, well, so I was, you know me. I've always been one to kind of to campaign for Will Smith when he dropped some new stuff. I was the first one to say, "Yo, go see uh, uh Richard. Go see King Richard." I still say go see King Richard. It was a really good movie.
Mhm.
Um, but now I'm just like, well,
Is it
it's
because of
not.
the slap, or is it just, or is
It's
it?
it's it's because of the combination of things. It's the slap is part of it, but the real problem I have, Will, is you were adamant about not doing films like this. Now all of a sudden, you you're backpedaling, brother, and I don't
So
like
he
the
did say he
backpedaling.
said he wouldn't do. He said he wouldn't do stuff like this.
Man, he said along he's been on record multiple times of saying that he didn't want to do any slave. He was opposed to doing slave movies and all of that. And then, here we are, and here we are now. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, so what happened? What changed? what changed? I mean, was it the fact that you slapped another black man, and it was like,
I mean,
oh,
I think he did this movie
I
before
don't
that
know.
happened. I don't even think that this happened after. I mean, I don't know. Maybe there's somewhere where we could find that out, but
Yeah, we
I
probably
didn't.
could.
I didn't think that was something that he was doing after uh the Chris Rock slap. I just personally right now am averse to slave movies just for the sake of not, I think that these movies got to be told. I remember one time Snoop said, "Look, can we please stop with slave movies and shit?" You know what I'm saying? And I got
Uh-huh.
mad. I was like, "Man, listen, man, let people make their movies." You know what I'm saying? I mean, listen, it ain't for me because I figure I've seen enough. But every generation again doesn't have the same. Roots didn't come on for everybody. So I'm like, look, whatever it is that's going to teach, let them teach. But I just don't rush to see slave movies. Now it's been hard. There's a movie called Alice that's on Amazon right now with Kiki Palmer that I really want to watch. That I started watching actually, but even that I've been like hesitant to watch because I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Not that I don't want to watch slave movies. It's just that I am a little averse to watching them. I guess. Uh,
Uh, so it says that mm,
what is it?
10 years. Okay, nonetheless, that will debut on December 2nd. So Let's see. Principal photography was expected to begin on May 3rd, 2021 in Los Angeles. It was later set to begin on June 21st, 2021 in Georgia, but on April 12th, it was announced that the film would be shot elsewhere due to the recently enacted Election Integrity Act in 2021.
Wow.
So at earliest April of 2021, at earliest, that would have been the shoot. On what day?
Yeah, so that was before. Isn't that before the?
That was before the slap. Apparently, it was set to come out prior, but then the slap kind of pushed it back. But again, like it just makes me wonder with Will, because like let me see if I can find the comments because I remember he was like very adamant. Let me see why he didn't want to do slave movies.
Well, I probably ain't gonna be watching that anyway. I tried to watch this show called Blood and Water. That shit ended up being a little more dramatic.
It
ended up being a little more dramatic than I expected it to be. I still watch Fletch. I think that shit's still funny as hell. I did. Yeah. I watched this show Barry on HBO Max. That shit funny as hell. But I don't know. I just been getting these video games out of my system lately. Finally beat Witcher. Finally beat Returnal. I don't think you could really beat Avengers.
Nah, you can't beat Avengers per se. I mean, you could beat the campaign. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's an open world. You can max out everybody, and then I guess that'll be completion. You'll have completion of the game.
Yeah. There go when we beat. What's that?
Okay. So what it was he said he didn't want to make a slavery film about vengeance. That's what he said. He didn't want because of the violence. He didn't want to do a slavery film about vengeance. So I'm guessing emancipation isn't about vengeance. Isn't about vengeance. So we'll see how that works out in the movie. But that's what he said.
So like he don't want to do a Django. He wanted like a 12 years a slave.
Yeah, that's what he said. He didn't want to do anything due to violence or anything like that. So it's just like, all right.
I think Will Smith, to his credit, and had it not been for the slap, he wouldn't have an issue with his image, I think, except for possibly being a simp for Jada. But I mean, being a simp for your wife doesn't really.
Yeah, I was about to get you right there. Like, hold up, bro.
That don't really.
We all simping for our wives, bro. Like
yeah, well, I mean, I was speaking mainly about the extramarital shit that's out public for her, but not him. And but that's another story. That's their own business still. So, but I think that what he has done is been fairly, with the couple exceptions, diverse with his movie selection, especially since he has, I'm sure, so many offers. You know what I'm saying? So I think what he wants to do is just do different projects. He don't want to do the same thing twice. And I think this is him saying, I've never done a slave movie. You know what I'm saying? And that's why he's doing it, because he just hasn't done it before. So now he can strike that off his list and then do something else. You want to see something interesting? Have you ever watched he has a show on YouTube. Did you know that?
Yes.
Did you watch it?
I've seen clips. I've seen clips of it.
Yeah, he went skydiving on his show with his father-in-law, Jada Pinkett's father.
Yeah.
And he had a heart attack during the skydive.
Oh wow.
When they landed, he was unconscious.
Oh,
it was a whole thing. Like, they had to take him to the hospital and shit. It fucked him up. Yeah, man.
Well, I mean, that shit will fuck you up. I mean, I
I
hope
mean,
I hope her father's okay. But yeah, jumping out of a plane has never been good for the heart. Like just
yeah,
FYI.
I wouldn't do it. You know,
I'm just, I mean, like I've got friends that have done it, but me personally, I'm not that much of a risk taker, bro. Like when
yeah,
it comes to
I'm
like,
not willing to take that.
I don't play with I just don't, because I feel like if I did that and then I woke up in heaven, I just can't be mad, or just woke up where, you know, just like, or just didn't wake up. You know, hey, like you did it. Who told you to go do that? Who told you to go tie something to your ankles and jump off a mountain? Like,
Yeah. You
I
know,
did it for the views. Well, well, that's probably why they call your death a viewing. So you get the most views. You get the most views upon your death. So just know that, people.
I still get more on YouTube. I would love to. In fact, I've been contemplating this for years, so this might actually happen. But I've been wanting to do like a segment on tough topics such as like religion and abortion and rights and black
As long
culture.
as you really gonna talk about it, man. As long as you ain't gonna cap for the camera, man. You know what I'm saying? Like we gotta, you know, like that. Those are such touchy things, man. And it's like, if you're gonna talk about it, like go all the way in. Like, you know what I'm
Well, I
saying? Like
mean,
that.
hold on. See, I'm not planning on like talking about it like, yeah, let's talk about this stuff. It's gonna be more of uh, a panel conversation with people that can debate their different ideals. At the end of the day, I plan on there being heads button clashes of different ideals. But that's the objective, to hash those things out. Because I think that what happens is a lot of folks get caught in their own bubble. That we, when we get in the room with each other, that we can't really like get on the same page because we never really have been completely on the same page, just in regards to a few things.
Bro,
So
why? What are you watching? An old video of us playing?
yeah. This is us. We about to fight the last man.
Oh, when we beat the boss.
Yeah. This is when we actually we're about to jump down and BM beat the last man. Here go the sounds.
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot I
Yeah.
had that long.
Oh, shit.
Aim for the eyes.
Aim for the eye.
Oh, I want to say. There's a lot of eyes.
Man, you wasn't.
I was
hitting
I was shooting the wrong shit for a long time. I was shooting the fucking thing, shooting out the fire. I was like, they look like eyes.
I was like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, I was shooting all them purple things. Them purple things. I was shooting them. The whole time I'm shooting them things. Like,
oh man,
that's it.
Right. Let me see this shit. Let me pick this shit up. What the fuck? This game is hard. Yo, you know that? Well, I don't know. Do you have the on your game? Do you have the
Oh shit.
the grappling hook yet? Or are you still playing it? You ain't playing it no more.
Nah, I haven't. Once we beat it,
Oh,
I have been playing other shit.
you retired.
That's why I've told you to. That's why I had you download Nio so we can start trying
Did
to.
you start it? You started it already?
Nah, I have not started yet. Nah, I haven't started.
Okay.
Not done anything with Nio yet.
Because I just didn't feel like having to make my own character again. And
I mean, well, you know, you can always go through the basic and just go with the base form.
Just go with the default character.
Yeah, just go with the default character. You don't have to do all of that stuff. But that's just something new to try. Because I honestly, the only reason I'm so excited for Avengers is because of the new character, and it makes it feel like I'm playing a new game because of the new character. But even with Avengers, I had got tired of Avengers because Avengers becomes redundant after you.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, I maxed my man out. I played all the levels. Now what? You know, like so. Yeah, I don't gain excitement from doing the same shit over and over and over again. So
Yeah. It doesn't have that same thing like that some games have where you just play it forever and ever and ever. Like this game has a different, you know what I'm saying? It's so similar. Everything you do is so the same.
exactly.
But it is fun to build up the characters and shit. I don't know.
No, it was definitely fun. But it's always fun to play. Like I said, that the best part of gaming is the interaction with your friends. If you ain't, you're just over here playing games by yourself. Find something better to do with yourself. If you're just playing by yourself all the time, Vince, find something better to do with yourself.
Oh, man, I be trying to play.
Oh, now you do, nigga. Your ass was on The Witcher for years by yourself.
It's a one-player game. It wasn't my fault. It's a one-player game. I think so. This for you is, you said you liken it to get to Call of Duty gameplay.
Oh, you haven't? Oh, you just started using them?
No, that's not me. That's you. This is your gameplay.
Oh yeah, watch some of the stuff that he could do. I'm wondering if that's the one that I did that hot shit. I don't know if this was the one or not, but he did some. Yeah, bro. Like yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh
yeah, look at that. Come here. Oh yeah, okay. Let's back up.
Let's get some sound on
it. Come here. Get down there.
This is a whole different game now, boy.
Oof.
Oh yeah, it's about to get crazy. Watch why it's about to get crazy.
I feel like this dread bot down, boy.
Oh, you taking a dread bot down? Look at you over there. It's being stingy.
Nah.
Let me just sprinkle some of this on.
it.
Let me just sprinkle a little bit.
Now I'm invulnerable.
I need to shut up.
Come on. I done took out your little rockets.
Oh, come on. I can't finish it.
There is home.
Come on.
Oh.
Look at him. He over here. Look at him. He pump faking.
Oh my God.
He pump faking.
Oh.
Oh, hold up. You saying we could do something?
Oh. Ooh.
Man.
Goodbye.
Uh-oh. I don't know what happened.
What happened? It just froze. Your internet. Your internet, bro. You got that whack ass internet.
Yeah, this time, yeah, that's probably just a sign.
Just a sign of the times.
Yeah, it's probably got it. Let me go ahead and head up out of here, man, so I can, chill with the family, so I can get some time to get back to the games.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea, man. Go ahead and twist me something up and go hang out with the family and everything, and then jump on later, man. So just hit me up, bro. I'll be on.
All right, for sure, man. All right, good seeing you. We'll hit you up later, man. Jump on there, man. I'll be sending invites and shit, man. Y'all be tripping.
Nigga, shut up. I don't be on there. If I don't respond, that mean I ain't on there. I just have to take the game on, bro.
All right, man.
All right, later.
Do I want to play a thing?